to Full Coverage, your favorite podcast.
With your favorite
hoes.
With your favorite hoes here.
I love
your favorite
it.
hoes. You have Manny and Laura Lee up in the house. Today we're going to be doing a rapid fire.
I'm so excited. And we're also like back. We like missed a week.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Let's
The
get
DMs.
a further investigation.
You guys, the investigation continues.
Y'all were like, listen up, honey. You
Y'all
skip
were
an
not happy.
episode on me?
Y'all were about to start cutting us in the DMs.
Oh, I seen it. Y'all were mad. And you know what? I feel that because we've been so consistent.
Yeah,
and then we just hit you out of nowhere with we're not going to be uploading. I get it.
I get it. And I did feel guilt. It's not like I didn't feel bad, but I was sick.
He got COVID.
That's my pit of the week, by the way. It's
Let's
like I got
jump into
COVID.
that. Let's dive into that.
I literally got fucking COVID. So I went to New York Pride, and part of me thinks I got it in New York.
Well, yes.
I wasn't when I landed, and like that day, I was like, I don't really feel like the best.
100%.
I don't feel 100%. So I took 2 tests,
Like
and they
that
were
night,
both
you were
positive
like,
that night. And so I was positive. Suddenly, I was like, what the fuck?
Oh,
and I'm like, I shouldn't have made out with those 2 guys.
Yeah, definitely.
But all I did was make out. All I did was make out, though.
Sure.
And wow, you guys, I'm telling you, I'm not as promiscuous as I was in my 20s. I'm 31 now. I've turned a new leaf.
A new leaf, honey.
New leaf, who this?
Who is this?
So yeah, that was my pit, was the fact that I literally got COVID.
Dang.
And it was not cool.
That's quite
And you know what's
pit.
even crazier is that I missed the trip with them.
Yeah.
Because of me getting COVID. Like they went
So we went to Lake
Lake
Powell. And he was supposed to be with us
You guys,
on that
I booked
trip.
everything.
He booked everything to
The
come
flight,
with us.
the hotel, everything was fully booked.
He was supposed to be on that adventure with us, and he didn't make it because he got COVID. He was so sick.
Testing positive.
So it was like he had COVID, and then I had travels the next week, but we were supposed to film the week he had COVID. And obviously we couldn't, and then we could have made it up the next week, but I wasn't here, so it's just like not happening.
There was just no way we could have filmed that extra episode in between.
No,
It just couldn't happen. I didn't want to obviously get you guys sick, and so there was just no way it was happening.
No.
And I also appreciate so much Tyler taking over for the last week. By the way,
thanks.
that was really cute, and I watched the whole episode and I loved it.
Yeah,
It was so good.
Did you? What did you think?
I loved it.
How'd you think?
I thought Tyler did amazing. I literally was like, Tyler cannot have my job. And that's
I
that.
got real comfortable in here.
Oh, I'm sure you fucking did. I'm sure you did. Ty got real comfortable. He was just laying back. He's like, I don't give a fuck.
He starts putting his shit up here.
Everything is not mine anymore.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Imagine.
No, yeah. So that was like kind of a pain in the ass, honestly. It really pissed me off. But I feel like COVID's kind of going around again.
It is.
So it's like, what are you supposed to do? You just
What are you
kind of have
gonna
to prepare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What about you? What's your pit?
So I'm not well. But
Laura's
it's
currently not well.
Currently unwell. So I better not see comments saying there's something wrong with her, because you are damn right. There is. There is.
You guys, Laura's had a really long day.
It's been a long day.
Let's be honest.
The thing is, I go to New York next week, so I'm double booked this week to get everything done. You know how that goes.
Yes.
You know how, like, anytime you go anywhere, you just have to work extra hard the week before to get everything done so you can actually get stuff done on your trip and not be filming and working the whole time. So that's me this week. And this morning, I start off with an 1.5 hour live session with Amazon for Amazon Pride.
Pride.
I was
Pride.
like, Pride.
July
I'm the host of Pride. I love working at Amazon. I'm
They're
really
great.
honored to do it. They're great, and it's something that I've talked about so like openly on my channel, like my Amazon favorites for so long, and that's when they started working with me.
Yeah, I love that.
Because of my videos, which made me really proud, and I feel really special. So I have to do a live with them tomorrow. I'm sponsored by Kenra. It's a really cool opportunity. But I did that for an hour and 30 minutes straight, and then I came here and filmed an hour and 30-minute episode of the podcast. Our other episode that's coming out next week with La Plática. So you guys be on the lookout for that. And now
we're on third video
I'm
of
on
the
my
day.
third video today. And
You're on hour technically what? Like what, hour and a half? You're on hour 4. Like we're on hour 4 right now for
an
you.
hour 4 of filming.
Of filming for the
So
day.
yeah, I'll probably film like 4.5 hours straight on camera today, which I know. Hey, listen, if you're just like not an on camera person, you hear that, you're like, bitch.
Please. That's nothing.
It is.
It's just draining because you're on.
It is something else. It's
just
something else.
It's like you're just very, very mentally stimulating. It's not as physically taxing. It's more mentally
It's
stimulating.
not like I'm not working in between
drains
this too.
you. No,
Literally,
I know.
I was working with bringing back Nudie Batootie, my clothing boutique.
Yes.
I'll jump into my pit then. That is, I mean, I'm sorry, my peak.
Your peak, yes,
You're like,
peak.
what's going on? My peak then, we're getting really close to bringing back Nudie Patootie, so the closer we get, the more the workload picks up.
Yes.
So we're getting close. Glad. We're hoping, guys, don't quote me on this, but we're hoping to have it back next month.
Oh my God.
Yeah, soon.
That'd be insane.
Soon.
July, so in August.
We're hoping to bring it back August. Don't quote me on that date because something could throw a wrench in it.
I mean, that's how business works.
But that's what we're shooting for. So the
sickening.
next 2 weeks of July is going to be balls to the walls to get this baby up.
It's going.
We got to cross the T's and dot the I's. You know how it goes.
I know all too well.
You know all too well.
It literally is like pandemonium all the time. When you have your own brand, it's pandemonium.
Yeah.
You cannot sometimes you just can't catch a fucking break.
You can't.
Again, it feels like the whole world's crumbling when it's like everything's going wrong and it's like I can't even, sometimes it'll make me like want to cry.
Yeah.
Like literally it'll like bring me to tears when I am so frustrated with something and like I can't get it to go the way I want it to go.
Yeah.
And then I'll be super overwhelmed because it's like, that's not only like, you're not dealing with brand stuff. You're dealing with Laura Lee stuff too. You're also being YouTuber and like doing all that stuff. So it's like, it's so hard to manage all the things all at once.
It's hard to manage. It's hard to manage. It's a
lot. You get overwhelmed quickly.
I do. And I get stressed.
Yeah.
But I deal with it and worse things could be happening.
Absolutely. And it's a blessing.
It's a blessing.
It's a blessing, but it doesn't mean it's not hard.
Exactly.
I think that's like, I think at the end of the day, it's like, you can't like make your feelings smaller because you think people are gonna feel like it's not, your feelings aren't valid.
It's not enough work, so you shouldn't feel bad. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that doesn't mean like you don't feel stressed about something. Like people might be also stressed, but it doesn't mean you can't feel stressed.
That's why I had to like cut down on Laura Lee Los Angeles this year, and I mentioned that I was like, I'm gonna be doing less this year because like I feel like I've been running a rat race for the past like 4 or 5 years, and like I feel like I'm going to look back and not even remember my 20s and 30s because the years went so fast because I stayed running wide open so much. So I'm like, I need to get my life back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or at least like kind of take a step back a little bit.
I need to take a step back. And the last time I took a step back, I got canceled. So this time...
Same.
I've learned to like take my own step backs, reflect, even if that means less launches for Laura Los Angeles, because we're having some this year, but not as many.
Totally.
And that's part of me taking a step back, reflect on myself, reflect on my brands. What do they mean? What do they stand for? What are we doing with these brands? Like everything. You know what I mean?
The cool thing about having your own indie brand is that you get to decide what the fuck to do with it.
You do.
You don't have to have these quotas because you're not on these big conglomerates that are making you have a launch every quarter. You know what I mean? It's like you get to decide what you want to do when you can do it. And that's when I feel like it's the most fulfilling. And like I feel like people, they see that you're not just launching things for the fuck of it just to make a quick buck. They're seeing that you're launching things because you know you can and you're putting your hard time and work into a launch. And it's like, you know, when you have a launch, like you worked hard on it,
right? And
like you set time aside for it, not just this like fleeting like, oh yeah, I proved that, whatever.
I feel like I've been more proud of Laura Los Angeles, and I will be of Nudie Patootie whenever it comes back, whatever you guys see. More proud of it this year than I ever have. And I know I've launched less stuff, but I feel like I've actually given myself the time to build out the aesthetic of the brands and like what they're...
And appreciate it more.
Yeah. And like spend more time on them because as one person, I know I have a team, but it's still, you know, being the owner of the brands, it's a lot and it's on you. So
when you're the CEO and you're the creative at the same time, it's like,
it's a lot.
It's literally like the most overwhelming feeling. And it's like, yeah, you have your team that people help you and like, thank God we do. But it's like when you are the person that's coming up with the ideas and you need, everyone has to help execute. It's like, you still have to come up with ideas.
Yeah.
And you can't come up with ideas when you're so stressed about everything else.
Yeah.
Like that's how it is for me. Like I can't be my most creative self when I'm stressed about so many other things.
So I feel like this year is like my year where I've been able to like get in there and not put it off and be excited about it again because I've like had to take some off my shoulders, you know, in order to do that. So it's been really good.
I like that. I love that. I'm so glad that you've been able to, you know, take a little step back and take some time for you because it's the most important is like you feed your soul and you feed yourself and everything else falls into place.
That was always so underrated to me when I was younger. Like I was just like,
God.
oh, whatever, feeding yourself, being happy, whatever.
I need to make my coin.
And now I really care about like being happy, and part of being happy is being happy with how the brand is. So it's like, what do we do to get there? I need to take some time.
Yeah, and like do like again,
think
like feed yourself.
And
go to the beach every fucking weekend.
Yeah.
Like do things that make you genuinely happy because everything else reflects it when you're happy as a human being.
1,000,000%. So what's your peak?
My peak is chill. My peak is I just binge watched the show called Hacks.
Okay, tell us more.
And I'm literally obsessed. And I just saw like today got nominated for 17 Emmys.
Dang!
And I literally was like
17.
So it's a show on HBO Max, and it's about a show where it's about this comedian. She's like an older lady. She's a comedian. Has this residency in Vegas, and she's been doing it for like 20, 35, 40 years, right? Being a comedian, and she's super funny, but she's like more old school. So her sense of humor is a little more not as appropriate.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so I don't want to give like too much away, obviously. So there's like this other girl who's a writer in Hollywood. Yeah. She's 25. She's Gen Z, and she's like more, I guess you can say like with the times now.
Okay.
And so she like essentially loses her job, and she starts to work for Deborah Vance, who's like, you know, the main person. And so it's kind of about like their dynamic of being like this older comedian and being a comedic writer who's Gen Z, and like their dynamic.
Irony.
And like, yes, and just how it like works. And, you know, she's about to like lose her residency because the guy's like no longer, like, it's like, okay, you've been doing this you've done 2,500 shows, like enough. Like you're like, we need more, you know, things. So that's what like the show's about, and in more of a preface way. But I just really enjoyed it because it's not a show I usually go for. I'm really into like the fantasy.
Yeah,
and the, like,
it doesn't seem like something you normally go for.
It's usually not.
I'm impressed.
It's usually not. And like the fact, like I literally laughed out loud watching the show, and like I know if something makes me laugh out loud, like I'm like, oh, like I'm actually genuinely enjoying this because it is funny, and like the writers are the ones that are getting nominated for Emmys because it's like so well written. Yeah, and I appreciate a well written show.
Well, yeah, me too.
Like I love it. Like I love a cute little moment. They don't play no games.
HBO don't play no games.
And that's why I like it so much. And like they just got renewed for season 3, so I'm like, I love it. And the episodes are chewable. They're like 30 to 40 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So it's like an easy watch. And like I told my mom, two seasons so far.
Nice.
And like first season has 10 episodes, the next one has 8. And I told my mom, I was like, Mom, you should like watch this show. I think you'd really enjoy it. She binged in 2 days. She like finished all of it. And like I watched the finale with her, and I look over her and she's like crying, and I'm like, stop crying. And she's like, shut the fuck up. So it was like just fun to be able to watch it with her too. I like kind of rewatched it with her.
Oh, that's fun.
So that was kind of fun. So that's kind of like my peak is like I implore you all to watch Hacks. I think it's a really good show.
You know a movie I watched recently that was really good? I told you about it.
Black Phone.
Black Phone. You guys, if you guys can do horror or suspense, please watch Black Phone. It's so good. It's a coming of age thrown in. I want to watch it, to be honest. Supernatural with, it's about a guy who's kidnapping kids. It's based in the 70s, I believe, and kidnapping kids in a neighborhood. And he kidnaps the main character, which is a little boy. And that's what the whole movie is about. Anyways, it's really good coming of age horror. It reminds me of a mix of like Stranger Things mixed. What else did we say? Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep.
And like
I haven't seen it, but I talking with her about it. I was like, I feel like this is kind of the vibe it's giving.
Very suspenseful though. So if you guys can't handle any suspense, baby, you might not want to tap in. But it's such a strong storyline. The writing is so good. I loved it.
Do you know what memory shakes me from like a scary movie perspective?
What?
Like I saw it when I was little, and it like
got you good.
Scarred me ever since. Was the movie Signs.
Oh, the alien.
Like with the aliens. And so like when like they're watching the TV, and like there's like an alien that passes through the screen on the TV, like at the birthday party, I'll like never be the same. Like that was traumatic for me.
I'm trying to think of one that got me. I'm a fanatic over horror movies. Whenever you come to my house in October, I make us watch every single night a different horror movie. I make us go see horror movies in the cemetery.
Yes, I love that. And I did that with you. That was really fun.
I am in it.
Like you're in it.
I don't know why either specifically.
A lot of people, I mean, like that's a huge genre. People like horror is so massive.
Do you remember we saw M. Night Shyamalan speak?
Yes.
He has a really amazing story. Yeah. I think his dad wanted him to be something else, and
he chose this instead.
Yeah, and dad wouldn't even look at him for a long time because he chose this, and now he's so like, big. His dad walks around with
I think
the
he said his dad wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah, I think he said he was a doctor, and he said now his dad walks around with the last name Shyamalan, and just like.
Like, yeah,
yep, that's my son.
I am that.
He's
father.
like, I am that Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Like his dad is so proud and supports him so much. It's a really amazing story.
I mean, at the end of the day, parents just want you to be happy and succeed. Like they just want the best for you.
And sometimes they think that that's their way.
Totally, and it's scary. Like they don't. My parents wanted me to be a surgeon. Like they were like convinced I was going to be a plastic surgeon and like a doctor, and I was like, no, like I just don't really want to do that anymore. And so they're obviously like happy with what I do, and they work with me full time. But like it's scary because it was the unknown for them. Like they've never heard of something like this, so they're just like, we just want you to be careful and like financially stable and not like
I will say yourself. My parents didn't give me, my brother or sister any expectations. There weren't really any like expectations, not even like college or anything. It was just kind of like, good luck.
Have fun.
Good luck out there. Girly. Which is definitely helpful whenever you're trying to do something like influencing, because my mom was just like, I don't know what you're doing, honey, but here's my computer, use it for whatever you need. And so, yeah, it was good.
But like you are also like a very self-driven person.
Yeah.
A lot of people like in that situation that aren't self-driven, self-motivated would actually like flounder really hard.
Totally.
Like in that situation. So it's like you are so blessed and it's like so like gifted in that way.
That's why so many times, even though I think areas were rocky in life, I'm like, I can't change that because like it was so perfect because of the way I am.
The perfect storm.
It was so perfect for me. And it really satisfied my need to control and need to be free and need to pursue and all those things. And
you were self-fulfilled. Like you got fulfillment by doing things yourself.
Yeah.
And like you wanted to make it happen.
Yeah. I know I would have, if I had strict parents, I know I would have done whatever I wanted either way, but I know it would have been a really nasty journey for me.
Oh yeah. You would have just been a lot more resentful.
Oh yeah, totally. I would have done whatever the hell I wanted to do, but it would have been a very uphill battle for me.
A battle.
And it wasn't a battle at all, which is nice,
Yeah. It was like smooth sailing.
All right, baby doll, what's our first topic?
Should we take a break before we go into our first topic?
Look.
Oh my God. Tyler's break time sign is literally doing
Y'all, it's great. It's flicking us off. We're taking a break, baby. We'll be
right back.
And now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. How we care for our minds affects our life experience. So it's important to invest time and care in keeping a healthy mindset and taking care of what's going on upstairs in your mind.
Absolutely. It's so important. I feel like as I get older too, it's like I care more and more about my mental health. And I care more about what feeds me as a human being. And that is a lot to do with how you're feeling mentally.
That's right.
When it comes to helping out your mind, we have BetterHelp out here, which is online therapy.
I personally love BetterHelp because I feel like it's more accessible.
Same.
I feel like therapy is something that has not always been accessible to everyone, and not everybody has gotten the opportunity. But I feel like with BetterHelp, almost anyone can get online therapy
at a really fair price as well. And I think that, in general, therapy is has such a weird connotation, or it did for so long.
It did.
And therapy is basically just like, enhancing your own experience as a human being. Like it's nothing to be ashamed of at all.
Oh my gosh, never. BetterHelp is online therapy and it offers live video chat sessions, or you don't even have to see anyone if you don't want to. And it's much more affordable than in-person therapy. You can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours, guys.
We love it. And you guys already know we have a deal. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/full coverage. That's betterhelp.com/full coverage.
All right, baby dolls, we are back and we got some drama this week.
We got some doozies, I will say. I feel like sometimes the rapid fires are like, things are going on, but it doesn't feel like doozies.
Sometimes it's dry out there.
Sometimes it's drier. But I feel like this week's a little more of a doozy when it comes to like the topics kind of going on.
It comes in waves.
It does. And like the first topic we're going to talk about is Addison Rae's dad cheating allegations. The internet's on fire for
it. It came out.
Like,
but we've done some research. We have done some deep diving on the situation. One, I take a look at the dad. I take a look at the pictures that have come out with him with these young girls. There has been speculation that he's been a big clout chaser in Hollywood since he's been out here. Looking at all the evidence, I agree.
I couldn't agree more.
And
like, the gag is to me, like I remember seeing, so it's so funny. So like yesterday I was talking to Laura about it and I was like, I truly feel like him and the mom have been separated for a while now.
That's
and
what
like we're
Manny
just
said.
now kind of seeing transpirations, like things transpiring from the last, like however they've been separated, right? So I'm like, I feel like
they were trying to like paint this picture perfect family.
Yes, for Addison's sake.
For Addison, for the kids, for the drama online, for Brandon. I mean, there are a million reasons why not to get into the separation of her parents or a nasty behind the scenes.
It's like never a fun thing. It's not like you want your fucking to deal with that online.
I think they kept up the picture perfect family for as long as they could.
Yes. So Addison, obviously, she has her parents very, very popular online. Like
they are.
I think Sherry has like 10 million followers on
He
TikTok.
has like 5 million.
He has like 5 million on there. So basically, like there's these like videos and photos of like this one girl that kind of came out and was like, yo, like he been like dragging me along for 6 months.
A very young girl.
Young. This is the part that's creeping me out.
But young.
This is what's creeping me out is that I'm not really, like he's obviously a little bit older.
Yes.
And like the girls that he's like kind of after dating, kind of talking to are all in like their early 20s.
And they look like Addison.
And they look Oh my God, do they look like that? They
well,
kind of do.
That's brought up into the conversation that a lot of these young girls favor Addison, which, you know, who knows what that's about, but he's literally clearly trying to go around. I know that there's speculation. Tana mentioned in one of her podcast episodes that there was a parent of a really, really, really famous, you know, influencer out, and he was like hanging around,
being like fully, you know, snorting in the bathroom.
Coke in the bathroom, like, and she didn't say who it was, but it's being alleged.
And I mean, now that it's kind of came out, like, she's been like, yeah, like, you kind of was that person. But like, what's weird to me, like, so this is something else that I saw. It was like actually also a clip of Tana and Jeff talking on a podcast, and there was like kind of text messages that were released between him and like one of the girls, right? And he goes, I want you to be the queen of my empire. Yep. I'm talking jet money.
First of all, this is my personal opinion. Reading those texts made me want to throw up.
I want to die.
The cringe nation.
Cringe world.
The cringe world.
I literally, but see, so Tana goes, you mean Addison's plain money? And I'm like, yeah. You mean her Addison's jet money?
Tana's calling out names,
Tana
honey.
is coming for blood. And the thing is, she's right. That's right. The thing is, like, she's absolutely correct. I'm like, so you're telling us
what, your 20-something-year-old daughter's jet money? Like, that's gross.
It's so gross.
It's so gross. Get out of here, dude.
And like, you know what's crazy to me? So like, I follow Sherry.
Yeah,
I really
too.
like her.
I love Sherry.
I just like her energy. I like her vibe. Like that she's from the South. Like she gives me such sweet, wholesome vibes. Yeah. Honestly, the whole family does. Like the kids and Addison too. Me too.
I love Addison.
I really like Addison a lot. I think she's absolutely incredible. But like, it was always the dad was always the outlier to me. I always got weird vibes from him. I never obviously followed him. I followed Sherry and I followed Addison. Don't follow the dad because I always got weird energy. And like now kind of all this coming out and transpiring, I'm like,
there it is. You're like, there it is. Definitely not surprising. I feel so bad for Addison.
I feel terrible for her.
Because obviously she's the biggest and it's going to hit her the hardest.
It's the hardest.
I mean, it hit Sherry, but it's going to hit Addison hard, especially like pictures coming out and him being gross and these nasty texts. Like so much is coming out.
Also, like I've seen like the like video of him like grabbing the girl's back and like all those kind of things. Like it's really strange. So Monty, that's his name, Monty Lopez, there came out like this, you know, this article, and it was like a family friend close to them said that they've been separated for like over a year. Okay. And like that Sherry's fully in Louisiana with the kids.
Okay.
And that he's out here and Addison's out here. And he's like, you know, being this kind of clout chasery kind of parent. Like
alluding to like Sherry is not shocked by any of this.
Sherry's not surprised. I really don't think so. I think that at the end of the day, they were like, I think my intuition was right on this one where I was like, I think that they've been separated for a while and he's just dating around really young and it's giving midlife crisis.
Yeah.
It's giving
I believe Sherry changed her profile bio to single mom.
Did she?
Already, yeah. After this happened, she put out a statement.
So now it's public though. It's like
it's so public.
Oh my God, she did put out a statement.
I'll read the statement. She
screenshot it.
Listen, me and Manny were talking about it, and then I went to her TikTok. I was like, oh my gosh, she just posted.
It was crazy.
Personal matters being brought in the public are always challenging and overwhelming for anyone involved. I will be okay. My biggest concern always will be my children and their fragile hearts and minds. I always do my best to protect them. My goal is to make sure that they feel secure and safe and know that everything will be okay. Thank you all for your love, support, and kind messages. It means the world to me.
I love her.
I love her.
I really like, honestly, like I feel like she's an amazing parent.
Yeah.
I feel like she's just like a little ray of light. I really just like her energy and I like her vibe, and that's why obviously why we follow her.
When a fame gets to family, it's like the money doesn't change you. The money brings out who you really are.
Yeah, and also the fame does too. And I think that the fame really, like, I think it's gotten to his head a little bit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I feel like that
jet money,
like this clout.
Girl,
this clout. He's become like this clout monster in a weird way.
Yeah,
where he like wants this clout and he's using it to get attention from young girls.
Yeah,
and it's
his daughter's clout.
Yeah, his daughter's clout.
His daughter's clout.
It freaks me out.
Girl.
Oh my God, you know what I just realized? I've seen him at my gym a few times.
Have you?
I have. I've seen him at my gym, and like I've seen him. I remember he was like, so in the locker room you can't be on your phone. Like obviously just kind of etiquette, like don't be on your phone. He was on his phone. And I remember thinking like, oh, he looks familiar. Now looking back, I'm like, oh, it was Addison's dad. And he was on the phone. He was talking about like business and was so loud. I don't like obnoxious phone people, like people that are really loud about their conversation. Like instead of being like, hey, like I'll be out in a minute. Like give me 1 second. People that just like plop down in the locker room and be like, yeah, so this deal's crazy. And he was talking about like money in these deals, and I was just like, girl, like, this is not the place. Absolutely, it was a flex, and it was really awkward though. It was really, really awkward and uncomfortable. I'm like, girl, take this outside. Like, why are you in here on the phone in like the gym?
Like no one likes
in the locker room. He's literally like wearing just a towel.
Likes that.
Just a towel on.
What's his name?
Monty.
No one likes that.
No one likes that. So stop doing that. So, yeah, you know, at the end of the day, I'm sending positive energy and light to Addison and Sherry and the kids. Because no one should ever have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Like, it's so horrible to deal with it online. Like, no one should even have to deal with it in, like, the real life.
World,
so dealing with it
online accelerates the situation.
Oh my gosh, I just cannot even fucking imagine. So sending them love and light. It's kind of just crazy, and we're on Team Sherry.
All right, next up is another doozy.
Another doozy.
So Doja Cat calls out Noah. Noah is from Stranger Things. He's Will in Stranger Things.
Yes,
if
Noah
you
Shnapp.
will.
If you will.
If you will.
Did you catch that he's like gay?
Yes, of course.
I was wondering. I was like, are the straights gonna catch this? Like these little like. Clues.
Well, I have a
you also have a great you also have a great gaydar, and you know the gays well.
I see what they're doing there.
Yeah.
But we're talking about on the show, by the way.
On the show. We're talking about Will being gay, not Noah Shnapp. Will.
Okay, so Doja Cat DMs a 17-year-old. Doja.
That's like mistake number one, sadly.
Doja.
So she DMs Noah about Joseph Quinn, aka Eddie from Stranger Things. And she goes like, hey, like what's his Instagram? Like, you know, if I can get in touch with him, essentially. I will say like the DMs were very harmless. Like they were so like
straight
chill,
to the point.
The most like surface level, almost like flirtation with not Noah, with like Eddie could
just
possibly
like,
be.
how can I get linked up?
Yeah. Like,
period.
Link us.
Period.
So Noah being a, 17-year-old and excited that Doja Cat.
I think he got really excited.
Posted.
He wanted to flex and be like, look, Doja Cat's talking to me on Instagram. Doja.
So Doja went off. So you know what's crazy? Like, so I'm gonna go and say this, and this obviously is like not the most popular opinion. I can understand where Doja's coming from with being frustrated.
Absolutely,
I can. Like, it's like at the end of the day, like, why are we even showing people's like private DMs in any situation?
I don't think you should have shared the DMs.
Same. So I understand what she is like frustrated with. I think the issue is the fact that he's a minor.
Yeah.
And like you can't expect the world.
I do feel like she was pretty upset too. Whereas it's like you gotta do an eye roll at it and move on because of the situation. It being a kid, you being so famous, you being so famous, and DMing a kid. It's only like,
but Noah's so famous too.
Yeah,
so in a way, it's like, I think
so
I do find
she thought.
So she thought, yeah, of course, she's thinking that he's in the industry. That's what's going on.
He's so new in the industry.
I know.
And Doja Cat, yes, she's so famous now, but she's been around. Like she didn't start yesterday.
No, totally, for years. And so I feel like she thought like, oh, he's in the industry too. Like there's almost like this like weird like air of protection with Hollywood. Like, oh, everyone's like have each other back. So I think that's probably why she did it. Maybe this was a
good lesson for her to learn.
Maybe it was a good lesson for her, and it's a good lesson for Noah.
Don't DM people, yeah.
But yeah, like don't like DM him with that. And I mean, especially with like, he literally had an Instagram like that was public, that was verified. Like you could easily DM'd him. But I think that like the whole situation at hand, like I can understand her being frustrated with it because I would be frustrated too. But also, what do you expect? Yeah. At the same time. Yeah. But people are treating it like, I do find this kind of strange that people are treating him like he's 17, obviously. He's underage, but they're treating him like he's like 5.
Right.
And I do find that really weird.
It's like he's 17, he's in the industry.
Like I find it, I was like, yeah, of course he's a minor and like it's still not appropriate. But like people are treating him like he's 6 years old, and it's like, I can't believe you would message a child this. Like this is so crazy.
Well,
and
at first it's like we're all against Noah until Doja Cat said what she had to say about it on her live sesh, and then the tables turned and everybody was like really mad at Doja Cat.
Absolutely. And the thing is though, even with Noah, people weren't even like pissed. They're like, oh my God, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
And they just thought it was funny with Doja being like, that's quirky. Because everyone's like, oh yeah, Eddie's fine. Like, of course everyone's going to say that.
Right.
Like, that was so normal. And then Doja kind of made it a situation because she got embarrassed. Which I can understand. Like, I'd be embarrassed too.
Well, did Eddie reach out to her?
No, and I think that's why.
No, Eddie, no.
Well, it's also like speculation online too that like she has a man. So I think that's even more like...
That's why she got upset.
So she could be upset because like she literally has a man. And so she could be like, oh, like, are you trying to get at someone else?
Maybe
like, who knows?
She thinks Noah may have known that and like...
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
So I find it strange that people, are saying like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe she would message like these messages to a little kid. And it's like, he's underage, he's 17, but let's not act like he's 3 years old.
Yeah.
I do find that a little weird.
Well, the thing is, I don't think he'll be sharing anyone else's DMs.
For sure. I don't think so either. I think
there.
lessons have been learned for sure.
On both sides.
Yeah.
On both sides.
But it's like, I don't know. I think that people can still choose. Like, at the end of the day, at a certain age, you know right from wrong.
Yeah.
And like, you know yes or no. Like, you know these things. And like, you can't make it seem like he's an infant.
Yeah.
Because he's not an infant. He's, underage, but he's not a child.
Guilty.
The gavel. Strike the gavel.
Guilty.
So, at the end of the day, I think they both learned some real valuable lessons on this one.
But the internet ate it up.
A flame. The thing is, at the end of the day, Doja's the one that's getting canceled for it.
At the end of the day,
she didn't realize that Noah was so popping.
Eddie should have reached out.
She must have not realized.
You can go to his Instagram and do the math there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But also, like, he's on one of the most famous shows in the entire world.
In the world. For good reasons.
And like, so I think that when you're a celebrity and you're essentially like going against another celebrity, calling him a snake, because that's what she said.
She was that's like, some rat-like shit too.
Yeah,
rat-like,
snake-like behavior.
She said both, and that's a lot. It's
that's a lot. It's heavy stuff.
Heavy words.
And so I think that
if
you're gonna do all that, you gotta have the ducks in the row.
Should we take a break before our next topic, Manny?
Yeah, we'll be right back.
We have more.
Thank you so much to Dipsea for sponsoring this portion of Full Coverage. You guys, are you feeling a little anxious, overwhelmed? These feelings can make it hard to shift gears and get in the mood. And with Dipsea, you can focus just on what makes you feel great. And the cool thing about Dipsea, you guys, is basically an app full of hundreds of short stories designed by women for women.
I like Dipsea because they come out with new content every single week. So guys, you're never going to run out of content. You're never going to get bored. You're never going to get stuck with the same stories over and over again. So that's really cool about it. And in between listening to your favorite stories again and again, you can always find something new to explore.
And it also has sleep stories.
I think that's so cool.
Right? Wellness sessions. And now they offer written stories. So I think it's actually really cool that you can go on to Dipsea and there's so many options of what kind of stories you can be listening to unwind.
It's not just for one thing, it's for multiple things. So yeah, quite a variety there on Dipsea. For listeners of the show, Dipsea is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/full. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/full. dipseastories.com/full.
Thank you so much to Eharmony for sponsoring this portion of Full Coverage. You guys, over the last 20 years, Eharmony was a pioneer in helping people form lasting relationships by meeting people online. You guys, honestly, they've helped millions and millions and millions of people. And I feel like online dating nowadays is super, super hard.
It is.
So the fact that like Eharmony is still out there trekking, with their compatibility quiz, personality profiles to help you discover love and discover things about yourself truly is so amazing.
I agree. I think it's literally a serious app. It's to help you get into a real relationship, and it's easy to fall into the trap of the endless swiping and all that.
I do it.
Right? eHarmony is international about helping everyone find real love. You guys can see it for yourself on their compatibility quiz and personality profile that can help you make a meaningful connection.
At the end of the day, eHarmony is trying to get to know you better so you can get to know other people better as well, and matching people with who they feel would be such a great match, and I mean at the end of the day, it's the #1 trusted dating app.
Wow.
And they are here for real love.
Every 14 minutes someone finds love on eHarmony, guys.
I love it. Join today, you guys.
Join now.
Okay, now we are back and we just had some food.
And we are full, and I have a blanket on because I'm freezing.
She's
always
freezing.
cold.
I'm
always
not.
Cold. And said this is how we work it out.
And this is how it's gonna work. So I feel like blanky, not blanky. This also I feel like is a kind of blanky material.
Yeah.
This is like woven.
It's nice. Crocheted.
It's crocheted.
Crochet.
Okay. Anyways, you guys. So we're on to our next topic, and this one hit me by surprise, I will say.
Me too.
This hit me by surprise. I was kind of shocked by it. So you guys, thank you, by the way, for everyone who sends us topics.
Y'all are a godsend.
Y'all are out here fucking being
Truly.
troopers.
Y'all
and
are making it happen.
Y'all send us hey, this is what's going on. We would love to see you talk about it on Full Coverage. And we appreciate it so much because this is how we get a lot of our information as well.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Keep it going.
Please.
So this is a case for the FBI.
It is. This one runs deep.
It runs deep. So this topic is about Araceli Beauty
versus Tresluce.
Tresluce, which is Becky G's brand.
Tresluce. Got it.
3 Light.
3 Light.
Yeah, tres is 3 and luce is like light.
Luminous light.
Yeah, luminous. So that's kind of what it is. So Araceli Beauty essentially kind of just called out
Tresluce, which is Becky G's brand. And this brand is owned by influencer. Her name is Sally. She's a friend of mine. Becky G is as well. Both of them are friends of ours.
100, like literally. So we're like going to be very amicable about this topic. And we're going to talk about what's going on and see what you guys think of it. Because when I look at it, I'm like, okay. It's like there's a lot going on that I'm very...
There's a lot of moving parts.
Yes.
And Ipsy's involved too. So it's not
it makes
just
it a
Becky
little
G,
harder.
Whereas Sally 100% owns Araceli. Tresluce is owned by Ipsy and Becky G.
And another partner, I think. So there's not only just Ipsy, I think there's another one. I forgot what their name is. It's like Creator Me or something like that. So it's like there's a lot more hands in Becky's brand with Tresluce in comparison to like Sally's brand, where she's a self-made brand. So Araceli has a brand called Araceli Beauty. And it's a brand kind of inspired by Jalisco Mezco because she's from Jalisco herself.
And that's where they create agave.
Well, that's like agave is like that's where you find it is in Mexico. So it's like their products.
I thought that specific area, no?
Is it only in Jalisco?
I don't know. I was reading her statement about it. Becky
well, it's known for it.
Okay, it's known for it.
So it's known for agave. So I don't think that's like the only spot ever, but it's definitely known for agave. So basically, her brand is inspired by Mexico and Mexican culture, and her ingredients are like infused with agave, which is not a normal thing. Like this is not like this. That brand story is so specific to Araceli Beauty because it is like I've never heard of any other brand infused with agave.
I also feel like Sally put a lot of time into because she's from that area.
She's from there. She's also licensed beauty professional as well. So this brand is literally like her bread and butter. It's like what she knows what to do.
She developed this thing. It's what she knows to do from the
2 years in the making, ground up.
Yeah.
So it's very like integral to who she is as a human being is their brand. So fast forward years later, Becky G comes out with a brand called Tresluce, and her brand story is extremely similar to the point where it's like almost like eye-opening. Things infused with agave. Inspired by Jalisco. Mexican artwork.
Inspired by Jalisco.
So Becky's family's from Jalisco.
Yeah.
So it's like, that is part of her integrated story as well. So it's like...
tit for tat.
It's like, it's tit for tat. So Araceli Beauty, like, they called him out.
They also sent Ipsy and Becky G's brand a cease and desist.
That they ignored.
That they completely ignored. So she put together a very well put together statement and pictures and proof and drawings and showing the brand side by side, showing all the different ways, all the different ingredients, where she's been felt like she's been essentially ripped off.
And the thing is, she was in an Ipsy bag. So Araceli. So it's hard when, she's been in a bag, this is her brand story. Ipsy's worked with her in some capacity.
Yeah.
Now Ipsy comes out with a partner brand or another brand with a very large Latina in the space.
I think Becky G
a celebrity
has 35 million followers.
Becky G's one of the biggest.
32 million followers on Instagram.
Becky G's one of the biggest Latin artists.
She's iconic.
She's an icon. She's a legend.
Sally has 100,000 followers. So that's where she's going up against here. It's
a big battle. It's the climb, as Miley Cyrus would say.
It is.
So basically, it's like you're partnering with this huge celebrity and like her brand story is so eerily similar to Araceli Beauty's.
It is.
Do you think there is a world in which Ipsy, everyone involved, had no idea that Araceli Beauty's stuff was so like specific and Tresluce was so specific and like they mirror so heavily?
I don't think that there's a world where
I don't think so either.
Where it was just like complete coincidence.
I don't
think there's a world, and I think it's simple. There's a lot of legalities involved, so there's a lot of words that aren't being said from Ipsy. There's a lot of words in Becky's statement that's not being said, and I firmly believe that's because of legalities. Where if you just straight up be like, you know what, I take accountability. We totally ripped off her brand. I mean, that could be used in court. Then
I was like, there's just no way.
There's just no way they can say that.
You're liable at that point.
Whether they want to take accountability or not, legally anybody would be like, we need to handle this behind the scenes. No statements on what we didn't do. So I know like their statements on their end, on Tresluce's end, is very like vague and not to the point. And I have a feeling that's why.
I do too. And I think that what else can they do in that situation when like legally they're in a weird spot? Because like, let's say if they're like, you know what, we did copy, then like Arceli Beauty can fully sue them and be like, you guys have to pay us back for using my branding.
And no one's going to just like,
and they're not just going to do that. Like that's just like, there's just no way they're going to do that.
No, you dealt with a situation similar and you were the small guy.
I was a small guy.
You were a small guy with Makeup Revolution with your Prism powders.
Yeah, so I did Moon Prism powders. And so the component I created, I did it with my design team and we custom created the component. I paid for the tooling. Like it was mine. Like I custom created it. I didn't trademark it because you can't like trademark a package. Like shape. You can patent it, but there's just like a lot of different things kind of going on with that.
Even that does not 100%
it doesn't protect you fully.
No.
So regardless, that's just a lot of money spent, like a lot of things going on. Patents can be pending for years and years and years. It's just a mess. So a bigger brand, you know, Makeup Revolution comes out with highlighters in the exact same compact but changes the colors. And so I fully called them out.
Your product was a highlighter.
It was a highlighter.
It's like, guys, come on.
I'm like, girl, like, can't you guys put a blush in there? Yeah, like, if anything. So they came out with highlighters that had the exact same componentry. So being that like legally, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I didn't patent it and trademark it.
You can't go in court against.
I can't. I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm gonna use my influence and what I can do as a creator to get the word out there that like I am the smaller brand. The bigger brand is targeting me and took my component essentially. You know, like I don't know, and they end up saying like, you know, we had no idea it was your component. We were just showed it at a trade show, and I'm like, it was.
I feel like they couldn't say,
but they couldn't say that.
They couldn't say like, yeah, we copied you, but they did what was right,
and they took it down.
They
ended up taking it off the shelves. Like, luckily with them, like their turnover is so quick. It's very ColourPop vibe, so it's like that was kind of already done, and then boom, there's like whatever, cool, keep it going. But the thing is, I don't think they'll ever use that component again.
And that's the point. It's
like I didn't want my thing that I worked hard and paid for to be taken by someone else.
Right. Well, also, Araceli, I think, is being accused here and there. The brand is of copying Tresluce.
Yes, and that's what's pissing her off.
That's what's the doozy.
That's the thing is, like, for someone saw the Makeup Revolution thing and saw like, like Luna Beauty's copying you guys.
That's exactly what people would say.
I would be fucking pissed.
That's what people would say because you're the smaller brand, so they automatically assume, well, the big guys definitely didn't copy the smaller brand. And
of course not. They would never do that.
They would never do that. And it's same thing with influencing. You know, it's like you never say like, well, clearly the smaller influencer is copying the bigger one, but sometimes that's not the case. But a lot of times people assume it does. In this case, that's really not good for, you know, them to be getting that backlash that they're copying whenever you get a brand so similar out there, but so much bigger, which I will say Tresluce and Araceli have the same following number, but it's like the people behind it do not.
Absolutely. And I think that it's an unfortunate situation because so Tresluce made like a statement and, you know, we'll read the statement right now, but they essentially didn't address what people wanted to be addressed, but they technically couldn't.
See, that's what
I can't imagine them being like, yeah, you guys are right. Like, we copied. Like, they wouldn't be able to have said that and like even shown face ever again.
No.
Like, you can't, like, they're just not going to do that. That's like the right thing to do, but it's not what's going to be done. Like, let's be realists about this.
Right.
So I think that you should read some of the statement.
I'll read the first part.
Which
kind of talks about other things than what the direct problem is, I felt.
So, yeah.
But again,
like almost like deflecting in a way.
I'm having a feeling there's some big there's some big ass lawyers out there.
Yeah.
Head
honchos. You're looking for head honchos. I knew it. I felt it.
Head honchos out there. They're like, let me see that statement.
Yeah. Before you make anything. No. Yeah,
and
that's what's happening.
She had to say something because this shit has blown up.
Oh, it was every single comment. All the comments were literally like, you're copying another small indie brand. Latina indie brand.
As the granddaughter from, Lord help me, it's been a long day.
It's a long day.
Okay. As the granddaughter of Mexican immigrants from Jalisco,
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, I'm very aware that my experience compared to others, like maybe you should read this, abuelos,
abuelos, maybe abuelos. That's what grandparents.
Aww, abuelos. That's such a sweet word. Okay, abuelos.
There we go.
Guys, this is my Duolingo for the day. Is very difficult indeed, but the pride for our roots as the generations came along is no different. Since I was a young girl, I was shamed for not being Mexican enough, quotes, and for being Pocha?
Pocha.
Pocha? What's that mean?
Pocha is like, I feel like that was
because I
hard for me to understand.
because I wasn't born in Mexico.
Yeah,
so
pocha is like whitewashed.
Okay, got it.
It's kind of like whitewashed.
I was not only shamed for my Mexican culture, but by American cultures too. I've tried to imply que solo soy.
What? Let me see.
Que solo soy.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. You said it correctly.
Hey, you're gonna have to.
So, for example, like I just looked up pocha specifically because I want to make sure I'm correct.
Yeah.
It's a derogatory term specifically for used by native-born Mexicans to describe U.S.-born Mexicans that don't speak Spanish. So, for example, like someone would call me pocha too because I don't really speak Spanish and I'm born in U.S. But I'm Mexican. Yeah.
I feel like we're learning about Hispanic culture right now in this situation here. At least I am.
I knew it was like kind of like whitewash. I couldn't remember what the exact definition was.
It made sense for the way the sentence was going. Some have tried to imply que solo soy Latina cuando me convinced me, but since day one, I have always represented two flags.
So basically, she's saying some say that she's only saying that she's Latina and Mexican when it like conveniences her.
People have thrown that in her face.
They throw that in her face. It's like, oh, you're a Mexican right now because it works for you.
Because it works for you.
I don't buy that. Like, I think that Becky G's so ride or die for Mexican culture. Like, she is so all about that. Like, I've never doubted that for a second that she was not proud Latina who's also American.
Right. I agree with that. Basically, she also says in the second part of the statement that her hard work's being questioned. She's been called lazy and privileged, but she's saying she's worked for everything. It didn't happen overnight.
I believe all that, what she's saying. I believe all that is true.
And she says she's worked for countless hours on Tresluce, for concepting approvals, brand naming, testing formulas, selecting their artists, and beyond that, because it's her dream and always has been to create a makeup brand.
So this is what I think.
Okay.
Let's get into the nitty gritty.
All right.
The nitty gritty.
I apologize.
Laura, you did great.
That you guys had to hear that.
Laura, you did a great job. You did fantastic. So I think that, so even like in the statement, she's like, you know, I'm part of the, you know, concept approvals. I'm part of like the color story. Like all these things, testing. Mm-hmm. I believe that she has her hands in all those things.
Yeah.
I think the part that gets a little different, hairy, is when you have investors and you have partners in the company who bring you these ideas and they're like, we think, like, let's say someone random was like, oh my God, I think it'd be such a cool idea if you had agave in your ingredients.
Right.
Becky could hear that and be like, oh my God, that is such a fucking dope ass idea. It makes sense with my story.
And she could test out stuff that has
agave in it.
Yeah.
And she could be like, oh my God, this formula works fantastically.
Right.
But let's say that person was inspired by potentially Araceli Beauty.
Yeah.
And was inspired by that thing.
And maybe they work
Becky
on her
know
team.
specifically? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But it's like that kind of comes into play when it's not just you working on something and you have outside
a big
factors
team and huge investors. Teams. Yeah. And I could see how Araceli would read that statement and go, what the heck? You didn't even like really deep dive and address everything. But at the same time, it goes back and forth. It's just constantly back and forth because it's like, well, there's huge legalities is when you're not an indie brand. When, you know,
100%.
Like you were
so
able, when the Makeup Revolution thing happened, to make a YouTube video. You didn't have any red tape on that.
No, because I literally was like,
and Araceli's able to put out all these facts and all this proof that she actually has. Selly is. Whereas Becky G...
There's red tape.
There's red tape. There's a lot of red tape.
It's like even like, so I've done a collaboration before and I was like strong-armed into being sued from the collaboration.
Yeah.
You know, and that's happened to me before. And when this happened, it was like, oh, you're stealing our branding. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what the thing was. Mm-hmm. It's like very similar to this. Like, oh, you're stealing our branding. Like what's going on? Like this looks like us. That wasn't me or the fellow collaborators doing.
Yeah.
You know, that we had like artists working on things and we had different things and they had presented us with artwork and I'm like, oh, I like this. Like this looks great to me. Kept it moving. So that could be a similar situation.
I will say with my team, I mean, we're a small indie brand too, being in Laura Lee, Los Angeles. Like I have a lot of my girls have worked for me for so many years. Mm-hmm. So of course their input is valued heavily at our brand and my brand, it shouldn't be a brand if you're just all my ideas and all my input.
Absolutely.
That's like a one person brand. I'm like, you try this and you try this and you try this and how do you think and smell, taste? Like I need all the ideas and I need all the people in on this. So, you know, it's a lot of people in. So a lot of different influences could be coming in.
So that when that happens, things like this happen. I feel like this is kind of part of that like journey, right? Where it's like part of it.
Right. At the end of the day, I hope Tresluce does consider changing up their branding a bit.
I do too.
And that way, I think that would be great.
Post.
I think it would be great for them to consider changing up their branding. I think if they move forward continuously copying Araceli, I think that would be a huge issue.
And you know, it's hard though. I will say, like, I can only imagine being Tresluce. More so, I can only imagine being Becky, because I feel like her, it does like her branding does apply to her as a human being. It does, because her grandparents are from there. She's so proudly Mexican, so proudly Latina, proudly from Jalisco roots, all those things, and it's like it sucks to have to, you know, kind of uproot all that to go forward with something in a different direction.
I feel like she could still use it in a different way.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like the componentry could be different.
Hire a new design team.
A new design team, new componentry, maybe doing different products that aren't the same. Not coming out with lashes and liners that like look similar.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Stuff like that is definitely a big red flag. So it's like, and being more conscious of like other Latin brands and like where we're moving in this, you know, direction. I mean,
being aware, as aware as you can be.
It's unfortunate to see such two amazing Latin talented people have this situation, but at the end of the day, I get it. You know, Araceli is a small brand, and to take a hit, to take a hit like that
is rough.
It's rough,
and like especially when you start to get comments that are like, "You're copying Tresluce."
Oh,
see, that would start to
when it's
burrow
your blood,
under my
sweat,
skin.
and tears that you know you feel is taken.
Yes, that would start to burrow under my fucking skin. I would start to get fucking livid.
So we do hope. I hope that there's a bit of change for Tresluce, and I hope we can all move forward. And
I think there's room. I completely agree. I think there's room for both. I think that just like I think small changes can make a huge difference.
Different launches, different direction for the brand, and yeah.
And it's not even about brand color. Like maybe keep Tresluce that blue purple vibe. It's so
like
cool.
Not even the branding. It's like the
that.
art design on the next projects and all on the
switch it up a little bit.
Switch it up.
I think that would make a humongous difference. Maybe not have everything infused with agave. That could be part of it as well, you know? So I think that there's definitely room for growth and move in a different direction.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think that would make all parties
happier. For sure.
No brand recognition stuff.
Right.
Don't recognize my brand with your brand.
Correct.
That sucks.
That does. That's a doozy. We have one more topic we want to jump into.
Oh, yeah.
Honey, before
another
we head out.
doozy.
Another doozy.
Bro, we've been having doozies today.
Doozies. Some tough doozies.
So recently, the Ace family just had Ace Fest.
I find it interesting because I don't know any other YouTubers that puts on as many like actual events, like actual like to invite specifically their fan base than the Ace family. So it's like interesting that they do that often, even though they have gotten bad press about it in the past.
I find it actually super fascinating.
You know, it's like what is it about it?
I don't know. And I'm like, are they doing it for like the coin? Like, does that make them a lot of money?
I feel like there's better ways to make money, but I could be wrong. I've never thrown a big event.
Neither. I have no idea what's going on.
Maybe it's a huge money maker and we just don't know.
Yeah, maybe. So what happened was over the weekend, there was Ace Fest that just happened. It took place in like Lancaster. Super hot as fuck area. Let me say I've been. It is so hot out there.
Is that close to Panama?
Panama.
No.
Pacoima.
Is that close to Pacoima?
I'm thinking like it's out there towards like Palmdale and Acton.
Palmdale.
So that's like over there.
Okay.
So that's where Lancaster is. Like it's like going up
Inland
to 14.
Empire.
Boom.
No, not the Inland Empire.
I don't know about Inland Empire.
North.
It's north.
Can you give me something else that it's by? We don't know.
Palmdale.
I'm looking it up on Google Maps. I need a vision because the thing is.
Yeah, look up Palmdale. So you'll see Lancaster right next to it.
Okay.
Or even pull up Lancaster. Hello.
I need a vision. Only
you're going to be like, oh. When I tell you it's hot as the devil's dick out there.
I used to live in the Inland Empire, so I know all about that journey.
That's different.
Yeah, it is different. Oh, yeah.
It's out there.
It's because it's away from the coast.
Yeah,
that's
so the
why
hotter
it's so
it gets.
hot there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like 110 out there. Like it's crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's not even that far from us technically.
The water park is called Dry Town Water Park.
Exactly.
Baby, it's hot.
It's hot as balls. So basically, Ace family was like, okay, we're gonna have this event, and it's gonna be a combo of Coachella and Disney.
That's how they advertise.
Like it's gonna be the most insane experience. There's gonna be performers. There's gonna be free food and drink. There's gonna be free games and prizes. So that's kind of what is promoted as being this like above thou stellar event, where it's like we're gonna do a full meet and greet. It's gonna be insane.
Yeah.
So Ace Fest just transpired this last weekend, and that it wasn't.
It wasn't. There were a lot of TikToks showing it. I didn't see a ton of people show up. Was there any specific drama surrounding this fest besides it not adding up to people's expectations as it was described online?
I feel like that's more so what it is.
It's just more so like...
You know what's crazy? When I look at it, I not realizing that it was like promoted as Coachella x Disney, I'm like, oh wow, like they put on a full carnival. Like that's pretty wild for a meet and greet. It's like it's like a carnival meet and greet. Like that's cool.
Guys, they really did have rides out there. And
they had rides. Like I was kind of like, oh wow, like they like. I was expecting less.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that.
I was expecting less too.
So I was like, oh,
they did more. Like that must have cost them for sure.
But I expected the bare minimum. So the thing is, when you're spending $500 on a ticket and you're expecting X, Y, and Z, and you're expecting Disney X Coachella.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, there was people out there that were interviewing people being like, is this like what you expected? Like, is this worth your money? And everyone's like, no.
Oh, shit.
Everyone like that they interviewed were like, no, absolutely not. Like, this is not worth, this is like a carnival.
It's a carnival. It's a carnival. It's a small carnival.
So I also saw this one thing. So when you go in, you're given a ticket.
Okay.
So you're allowed to play the games for free, but you're only allowed to use that ticket to get one prize. So you can play as many games as you want, but you get one prize. So everyone gets a little free prize.
Okay.
The prizes were like an Ace Family scarf, an Ace Family ornament, an Ace Family shirt.
So stuff they were trying to get rid of.
Yes. So it was like old merch essentially. So that's kind of what the prizes were. It's like, okay, it kind of still makes sense. Like it's merch. Like it's free. Okay, I still get it. I'm like kind of understanding the vibe. So basically people are just like, you know, it was way too hot out there. People were like dumping water on their children to make sure that they weren't like passing out from the heat. So
also, apparently some of that ticket cost you're paying. You're getting to meet the Ace family, and they really did do a real meet and greet for like 8 hours. 10 hours.
I gotta give them props.
Word is they stood there for 10 hours and met like everybody.
I honestly, well, almost everyone. So like they started cutting people off at the end because it was like
10 hours. Like after 10 hours. Like, are you kidding me?
I gotta give them props. Like this is like something where I'm like, I don't give Ace Family props
often, but I'm gonna give them props for
10-hour
actually
meet and greet?
being there, doing what they said they were gonna do as far as the meet and greet, and they were giving out signed posters. I think it's odd to have a whole family that you don't know as a poster in your room.
100%.
But to each their own.
To each their own.
The posters were signed, and apparently they were seen, the family signing them.
I mean, honestly, like they said that they were gonna be doing the meet and greet the whole day, so it's like, go them for doing the bare minimum.
You guys did what you said you were going to do, and you did it.
And you did it. So I appreciate that.
I do
I'm glad that was at least done.
I feel like that's good on them.
Totally. You know, I thought it was kind of funny. So I saw Def Noodles.
Oh, I saw this too.
I screamed. So Def Noodles went up to Austin. He waited in the 3-hour line.
Waited
in the 3-hour long meet and greet line just for this like TikTok, right? Or this video. So Def Noodles goes up to him and was like, I want to know how to be a scammer like you. And when I tell you, goes up to Austin,
and he says, "I want to know how to be a scammer like you," to his face, and
I want to know how you scam. How do you scam your followers, Laura? When I tell you, the first second I saw the clip, I had to like take it off the sound because I was getting the cringe. I was getting the secondhand embarrassment. I was getting the cringe. I was like, okay, I can't experience this. I had to take it off the sound.
I feel like Austin's getting good at this thing because he didn't react. He was just like, "Get out of here." He's done.
And then the security obviously ended up kicking him out. But I was just like. I was blown away. I was cringing out when Def Noodles did it. I was like, wow. But honestly, like, them kicking out, like, I saw them kicking out drama channels. Like, I saw them kicking them out. Like, they were not getting in. Blew my mind. But I was like, I'm not surprised. How do they know who
drama channels are?
They must know.
How does the front gate, does they have their pictures up and they're like, don't let these drama channels in. Def Noodles most certainly got in.
For sure. He got in and got let out.
I'm going to tell you this. I don't care what kind of upset I am. I ain't waiting 2 hours to tell nobody nothing.
Oh, 3.
3?
Laura, 3.
Oh,
3.
Lord.
I ain't ever going to do that.
So, Def Noodles.
For you, to you, Def
do
Noodles.
your thing.
I could literally never do that.
I can't do it.
So I think that at the end of the day, it wasn't what people were expecting, but I think that their audience who loves him had a good time.
I think their audience had a good time. I think it's cool that they really signed the posters. I think it's cool that they waited and did a 10-hour meet and greet, something I don't feel like I could physically do.
I couldn't do it. I know I couldn't. The longest I've ever done was 2.5 hours.
I do feel like they gave back to their fan base in that way. And to be honest, like if the worst they did is overhype it up, I kind of do expect that from them.
I do too.
So
I think going in, I think we all kind of expect that, unless their followers don't. That's I think the part that's the issue is like, well, your followers didn't get what they paid for. And I think that's where the issue is.
That's the doozy. But I feel like out of all the doozies they've had, this is definitely one of the least doozies they've ever had. And they actually had an event where so far, not much drama has come out of it.
Shocking.
I mean, a little sprinkles, but not a ton.
Sprinkles, it was sprinkles of it. And I was kind of like, oh, yeah, I would never go to that. But I was like, okay, it was better than I expected.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah.
It was funny.
What?
So I was at YouTube Beauty Fest.
You're like, I was at Ace Fest.
I went.
I
had a prosthetic on. I went to Beauty Fest, and right behind me was Catherine.
Oh, okay.
McBroom, and I was like, why is she here? Because I was confused. I thought that she was getting sued from her brand. Or her brand was suing her.
I did too.
So she ended up going up, like she was doing like a thing, and I was kind of like, oh wow, like and the brand was right front and center, like she had it there, and I was like, did that like go away?
What's going on? Maybe that's another investigation.
Maybe that's another investigation that we got to do.
Because
I was very surprised.
Know what happened with that?
I was like,
comment down below.
I thought there was something legal going on over there.
There's no one a better FBI agent than our followers.
Than the full fam.
Than the full fam.
There is no better investigators than the full fam. And you guys will figure it the fuck out. And then we get to tell the rest of the full fam.
Thank you guys.
And we love it. And we love you guys. So yeah, that was like a doozy. But less of a doozy than I expected.
Less than we expected. We expected way more drama out of that. So,
Chrissy, wake up.
Ace family's out here doing things.
They did it. You know, they did something.
They did it.
They did something. I think as long as you guys go in expecting not the world,
you're good.
And you're one of their followers that got a photo, you're happy.
You're happy.
Like you're a happy camper.
I'm sure all those people are happy they got to meet
I'm sure
them,
all like the 7-year-olds and the parents that went and did it are happy.
Are happy. So
at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Oh my gosh. That's it, guys.
But that's it. That's it for our pod. We're glad to be back.
We're glad to be back.
We're glad to be back.
Thank you guys for being here and watching. We wanted to make sure this episode and next week's episode is an hour and a half. So go ahead and grab the popcorn, baby, because it is going to get
ready.
Deep. With La Platica in the house. We had Sebas and Josh over here.
And it was amazing.
It was amazing. But anyways, we love you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of the full fam. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, like, and go on and leave us a comment.
And leave a comment. We love to read the comments.
We love the comments.
Obsessed.
Bye, guys.
Love you. Bye.